Everyone, welcome back to another Connecting Your Creativity. I'm Alex, and this week we'll be making paper poppies. In order to make these paper poppies, you will need a few supplies, including red, black, and white construction paper, glue, a pair of scissors, a pencil, and if you have one, a ruler. All right, let's get started. All right, let's begin. So we're going to start by taking our white construction paper, and we're going to be making petals like these with our white construction paper. And these are going to be the outline for the rest of the petals that will eventually end up looking like this. So we'll take this outline and then we'll transfer it onto this paper and use these as the petals. So to make these outlines, you're just going to want to freehand a couple petals. So what I like to do is I like to make a very hilly, shape like this, where we have one side that goes up, dips down, and goes back at the same height. And then we're going to add two lines that kind of come inward. And then we're going to connect them by drawing a little bottom. So this is a good outline. And then we're going to make a smaller outline for the inner circle of petals. So we're gonna do the same thing where we start with this little hilly top. We're gonna bring it down and have us meet us there, like so. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut these out. And a lot of this project relies on cutting. So we're going to be cutting out a lot of things today. All right, so we have our smaller petal. Let's go on to the bigger one. Great, so now we have both the big and the small petals. So now we're going to use the outline. We're going to use them to outline our petals on our red construction paper. So for the bigger one, we're going to make 8 of these. So we're going to go ahead, and I like to go at the bottom of my paper so that I'm not wasting a ton. Then we're just going to trace little petals. All right, there's 2. There's 3. There's 4. 5, 6, 7, and our last one, 8. Awesome, so here's our 8 bigger petals. And now we're going to make 4 small petals on the opposite side. Right, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to go ahead and start cutting out our petals. So I like to cut them out in sections. So here I have my smaller ones and here I have my bigger ones. And then I'll cut them further into their own little sections. So they should all be on a single square like this. And you remember to keep the small ones with the small ones and the big ones with the big ones. So here are the small ones. Here are the small ones. They are completely done. I'm going to put these off to the side. And we're going to do the same thing with the larger ones. Excellent. So now we begin cutting. So I'm going to start with my larger ones. I'm just going to go around the line that I had drawn before. Great. Our first petal. So we're going to, after we cut it out, we're going to make a slit right at the very bottom, about this size. And then we're going to put them off to the side. And again, we're going to make a little slit once we cut them out, give it little feet, and put it off to the side. And as you're putting them down, just be mindful which way the graphite is on the piece of paper. So see here, you can see where I traced the outline. Just make sure that when you're putting them in the pile, either they all have the graphite facing up or they're all have the graphite facing down. All right, we have about 3 done so far. Moving on to our 4th. And again, cut our slit. And here's our last, oh, I lied. Another one was hiding. So this is our second to last one. Okay, our larger pieces are done and they're off to the side. Let's go ahead and start with our smaller petals. And we're going to continue cutting the line. So same thing as the bigger petals. All right, we're doing well. We have one left. All right, that was our last one. So now we're going to take both of our petal piles, our large and our small, and we're going to begin. So take either the bigger or the smaller pile, and whatever side has the graphite, you're going to want to flip it over. So in this case, my graphite pencil marks were on this side, so I'm going to start from this side where there's no pencil marks. I'm going to take my glue, and at the very, very bottom on one side of the line we cut, we're going to put a drop of glue. And then we're going to cross and press down on the glue so that it stays. You're also going to want to take a pencil And while holding the glue sections together, kind of bring that pencil underneath the petal and drag it with it so that it curls. And you want it to curl back. Okay, so I have one here for reference that's already done. This is the one we just completed. And now we have two little petals that we can put off to the side and as they dry. And we're just going to do the same thing for all of them. So we're going to do a dot of glue. We're going to cross them, apply pressure, take our pencil and roll the paper around. And you can set it down to dry. And once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty quickly. All right, I have 5 petals so far. So we have 2 more petals to do. That was my 6th one. You want about 8. Now you don't have to use all your petals in the assembly of the poppy. However, you do want to make sure that you have enough just in case. So if you see that some of your petals aren't fitting all the way around your base, which we will get to cutting out our base here in a second, then you might want to go ahead and leave out some of those poppy leaves. All right, now we're on to our smaller ones. Again, make sure the graphite face is down. We only have 4 of these. It's the same process as the larger ones. Perfect, just about done. That was a lot of glue. All right, so now we can begin setting up our base. So with the same white construction paper, And it might be helpful to use something as a reference, but we're going to go ahead and make a circle. My goodness, that was a terrible circle, but it will do. So we're going to draw a circle on our white construction paper, and we're going to cut it out. And now we can start the fun part, the assembly process for our poppies. So you want to take the bottom of our petals, add a bit of glue, and start gluing it around the outside of our base that we just cut out. So it should look like this. All right, there's one. Two. I don't know if you guys can see this too. I'm overlapping them just a bit to kind of fill in that rounder shape. And you might have to reposition them a few times, and that's okay. All right, so once you finish with 4 petals around the border of your base, you're going to want to do an inside layer right in between each of these petals. And ideally, you would want to make sure that you are waiting for the glue to dry in between each layer. Let's see. How can I make this work without having to dry? Okay, I think we got it. Okay, so in my case, I had to leave one off, but it's a good start to the inside of the flower. So now I'm going to begin adding the smaller ones in the center to kind of fill in that white area. Now I just like to lay down a bunch of glue in the middle and add each petal All right, here's our last one. So here's how the inside of our flower is looking so far. And while that dries, you're really going to want to let it dry and not do what I just did and make it work. But you're going to want to let this dry. And as this is drying, we're going to start making our middle centerpiece. So I'm just going to take a water bottle cap or any sort of small circular item that you have, and we're going to make a circle with our black construction paper. And you can go ahead and cut it out, and then we're going to cut out our circle. Now, after we have our rounded black circle, we're going to make small cuts where we're not going all the way down into the center. All the way around. So we're not going right to the center, but we are making a little fringe. And then afterwards, you're going to kind of bend that fringe up from the middle base that we didn't cut. And then we're kind of left with our little base that we can drop right on in. And this piece acts really well for holding our petals together. So once that's glued on, you can go ahead and do the same thing except for it in a smaller black circle. Kind of bend up all those pieces again. And glue that inside as well. And then finally, just as a little finishing touch, you can take some of your red scrap paper, cut out another small circle, or as best as you can get to a circle. And we're going to add that right in the center as well. Perfect. And so here is our poppy. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I will see you next week for another Connecting Your Creativity. Bye.